Finally, guys, we can look at the new career mode. EA have finally released some information. Gamescom just came to an end a couple of days ago, and they have announced one of their main new features for FIFA 18 career mode. And of course, me being a career mode YouTuber, I'm very, very excited to let you know what's going on. I'm pretty sure a lot of you will already know there was a lot of leaked images from the beta, which actually I got to play myself. So I knew about these features for a little while now, but of course we were not allowed to talk about it. Before we get into this video, a good friend of mine, Chesnoid Gaming, has actually uploaded a video yesterday with official gameplay from Gamescom itself. So he was there at the event, he was able to record some footage. So if you want to go and check out his video, the link will be down below. And he does a really good job explaining it. But I wanted to show you guys as well, those of you who may not be subscribed to him, which I recommend go and subscribe to him, but you may not, and you can get the information from me instead. So let's jump right into it. For me, there has always been one major thing missing from career mode, and that is not necessarily just cutscenes, but meaningful cutscenes. And, you know, things that immerse you into the game outside of actually playing the matches. I'm talking negotiating with your own players, negotiating with players that you want to sign, talking to agents, things like that. And it's in the game. It is finally going to be in career mode, and they have explained a little bit here. So we have interactive transfer negotiations. So we've got a picture here of Mourinho talking with, you know, one of the default managers. And it looks like he's going to be trying to sign a Manchester United player from Mourinho. Now, I've played this in the beta, and it is very, very cool. So everything that you want to do in terms of signing a player, selling a player, negotiating a contract, things like that, it all happens really quick now. You can actually complete a signing or a sale of a player in just one calendar day, which for me is a huge, huge deal. And you actually approach the players. Maybe, you know, you've scouted them first, which is definitely recommended. You get their worth, you know, their value, you get their contract, what they're currently being paid. And then what you do is you approach the manager. You can actually delegate it as well. So you can actually send your assistant manager to go and do the delegations for you. Now, I've got a little bit of a feeling that that is going to become quite popular as the game goes on, because, of course, you're not going to want to spend every minute of the transfer window doing all the negotiations yourself. So you might want to delegate some of it, but me being a career mode YouTuber, I'm really excited to be able to bring this to my career modes, to be actually able to negotiate with managers themselves. So in this instance, maybe this guy, let's say he's the Southampton manager, maybe he wants to bring Luke Shaw back. So you can scout Luke Shaw like you normally would, and then you would approach Mourinho himself or whoever's managing the club you're going for. So it's really cool. And, you know, every negotiation feels different. You know, you have different options. It's almost like you can navigate between certain options. So whether you want to add a release clause or you want to remove a release clause, you can also offer a player. These pictures might not show everything, but we've got another one here. This is where, hang on, I think these pictures mean this manager here, whoever he's working for, is trying to sign Matic for Man United, or is it the other way around? Is this Mourinho trying to buy Matic from Chelsea? I don't know, but either way, we have Matic here. I'm pretty sure that's him, and this would be Matic with his agent. So his agent is going to be present with the negotiations for the contract. And they will have certain requirements. Now, this is what I really enjoyed in the beta. It was different every time. Some players wanted, you know, a crucial first-team squad role. Some wanted a release clause put in, which is really nice. Although I'll get onto the release clauses in a minute. There's actually a little bit of a problem with it, I think. You can also, you know, be expected to be told to increase your offer. Sometimes, you know, if you don't offer nearly enough money to convince the manager to let their player go, they just straight up walk out of the meeting, and that is over. You cannot go back in for that player, so it can be quite harsh. Here you've got Lukaku signing for Manchester United. So I was talking about the cutscenes. Now in career mode, big signings such as Lukaku going to Manchester United. In the news section of the career mode hub or menu, you are going to see certain players being revealed, which is a really nice little addition. What I'll do is I will link this website link in the description, as well as Chesnoid's channel and his video, so you can go ahead and read up on all the information yourself. Let's continue down here. So here we have David De Gea winning Player of the Month. Now, last year, Player of the Month was, you know, worth something for the first time in many FIFAs, because with Ultimate Team they would get a Player of the Month card. In career mode now, it means something as well, because you're going to see the player actually lifting the trophy, which is the official Player of the Month trophy that they hand out to Premier League talents, which is really nice. It's just good to see that there's more detail. Whether or not this is going to vastly improve your career mode experience, just seeing a player holding a trophy, it immerses you just that little bit more. Imagine if you've been playing the games and David De Gea has saved you on multiple occasions from conceding a goal, and he wins Player of the Month. It's kind of rewarding, isn't it? Now here we've got training with 15 plus new skill games. So we have new skill games coming, which would be interesting. Although personally, I don't actually use the skill games in my career mode because it's much easier to just add the players to training and simulate it. But for those of you who do like to do the training, we are going to be seeing some more training drills and games. And now this is something they spoke about a little bit of a while ago, actually. We now have quick subs. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people will know what this is. But basically, before the game, you can add 3 quick subs. So let's say you're playing as Bayern, like we see here. If I scroll down a little bit, let's say in the second half, if you're losing the game and you want to bring on someone else that's creative, maybe you want to take Tolisso off and you want to bring Rodriguez on, and you already know that's probably going to be what you want to do. You can make that substitution possible without even pausing the game by doing it before the game starts. And you can do that with 3 separate players. And also, if you concede a goal during the game, sometimes the game itself will offer an idea of a substitution for you. It will offer you, maybe Thomas Muller's having a bad game, or you've just scored and you want to bring on someone defensive to help you, finish the game with the win. It might say, we suggest you take off Muller and bring on Vidal. There's little dynamic quick subs that come up all the time for you throughout the match, which I really liked. But now let's move on to something that I think is really, really important in career mode. One of my main gripes with the game has been that every team kind of feels the same. So if you come up against Portsmouth, they play like Barcelona sometimes, especially on Legendary. And then when you come up against Barcelona, of course, they play their tiki-taka football. And then you come up against Hull and they play tiki-taka football. Every team felt very similar. Well, apparently that is going to be changing in this year's game. There is new team styles and player positioning. So every team feels a little bit different when you're playing against them. Whether you're going to feel a massive difference, I really hope so. I don't want to come up against someone like Yeovil and they just play this amazing, beautiful football that you would expect Bayern to be playing, because it's just not realistic. So hopefully they attempt more long balls and just throw it up to their, top striker, and they just try long shots and, just not playing that beautiful football that you might expect from a world-class team. Another thing they're improving as well this year is immersive atmospheres, so you can see the crowds are a lot better. Having played the beta, a lot of the cutscenes are much more improved when you score. Maybe your team runs towards the side of the pitch. Now, instead of seeing just a bunch of 2D crowd members jumping up and down, you actually see a proper rendered cutscene of some fans wearing the shirts of your team and actually celebrating. You can see their emotions, which is really cool. Certain pitches have confetti on the pitch. If you're playing in South America, where that's quite a popular thing to do, just having confetti thrown all over the pitch. In just European matches, during the Champions Cup, for example, maybe the atmosphere is going to be a bit, a bit more hostile. I don't know. Basically, everything has been improved in terms of atmosphere, which is really good to see. And also, the La Liga broadcast package has been brought into the game. So we're going to see official graphics from La Liga, as well as the Bundesliga and the Premier League. One thing is, though, I'm a little bit disappointed with this information. We still do not have the Serie A license. So the Italian league is still going to be called Calcio R and Calcio B, or Calcio. I don't know how you pronounce that one. So hopefully, maybe in FIFA 19, they will bring in the Italian league. And then hopefully we'll get Ligue 1 as well. Ligue 1, I should say, from France, which would be nice. Just to get as many licenses as we can for the broadcasting packages. Because in career mode, it's a huge thing. But here is Chesnoy Gaming's video. If I press play, you can get a glimpse of what he has to offer. Oh, I should have muted him. Sorry about that. You can see and get an idea of what the career mode hub looks like. He explains all of the transfer negotiations. So here you can see, the navigation I was telling you about, where you can offer players, where you add contract clauses and things like that, sell-on fees. I think in this video he was going for Van Dijk with Liverpool, which of course didn't happen in the end. Let's just not talk about the transfer window. As an Arsenal fan, it's one to forget for sure. And also towards the end, he shows you the La Liga broadcasting package, which we just explained. There is Zinedine Zidane, he's in the game. There's some of the rendered cutscenes in a match, and you can see it's really good looking. He's up against Atletico Madrid here. It shows you the players, like they do with Sky Sports, which I really like. So if you want to go ahead and check out Chesnoy's video. I'll put that in the description, like I said. But of course, the main thing to take out of this video is the contract negotiations, the changes to signing players and actually negotiating with players and agents themselves. And it's going to be really cool. But there was one thing I left till the end of the video, and that was, of course, the sell-on clauses and the buyback clauses and release clauses. So I don't think there's any buyback clauses, which would have been really nice. I was hoping that was going to be in the game. So if you sell one of your players, but you think that you might potentially regret it later on down the line and you want to bring them back, then you could, but it doesn't seem to be in the game. Maybe I missed that. Maybe they've added it. I don't know. So don't confirm that or don't take my word for it just yet because it's not been confirmed. But there was one problem with the beta. And do you know what? It's going to be in the full game no matter what I say, but I do want to say it because I know some people are going to find it frustrating. But it seems almost randomized when you start a career mode that certain players in your squad will have a release clause. And some of them I wasn't too happy with, the realism of it. It felt like, for example, I started an Arsenal career mode, as you do, being an Arsenal fan. And one of the players that had a release clause was Bellerin. One of our best defenders in career mode because he has such a high potential, right? But he only had a release clause of £29 million. So within a few days, he left because I think it was Barcelona, funnily enough, that came in, or maybe it was Bayern actually, and they obviously offered up £29 million for Bellerin because that's a crazy bargain. And there's nothing you can do to stop it because if you don't know what a release clause is, guys, effectively, if you pay a player's release clause, you do not have to negotiate with the club that owns the player. So in this case, they were able to go straight into, negotiating with Bellerin and his agent without even talking to Arsenal. So I had no choice in that transfer whatsoever. So there is one thing guaranteed to happen in FIFA 18 career mode. You are going to lose players when you don't want to. And it can feel a little bit underwhelming sometimes when you're building an amazing squad. You've spent your money well. You feel like you're getting somewhere. And then suddenly, out of the blue, one of your players that you didn't add a release clause to just already has one. And he leaves just out of the blue. It can be a little bit frustrating, but the problem is, guys, it's somewhat realistic because this happens in real life. Most big players these days do have release clauses, but they tend to be astronomical values. Look at Neymar, for example, at Barcelona. 222 million euros was his release clause. Who expected anyone to pay that in their right mind? Of course, PSG did it, and Barcelona would have kept Neymar, no doubt about it, if there was no release clause. And the fact that they were helpless, it's just one of the things you see in football these days. So although I'm happy it's in the game and it's a great addition to add some realism, it can be a little bit frustrating. So when I was playing these career modes, I ended up trying to avoid release clauses. I didn't want to put any release clauses into my new signings because I was worried that they would just disappear. And some players wanted one, and they would offer, say, a 30 million release clause. And you might be thinking that is not enough, so you ask to put in a 60 million and they say, no deal, I'm not signing this. And they disappear. So it could be a little bit difficult, but anyway, they may tune it. Maybe, the release clauses will be a little bit higher in terms of how much money you need to spend. But anyway, I don't want to waffle on too much about it. I'm generally very, very excited to play the game in general. I think that some of these additions they've made are really good. Hopefully there's a couple of more things to be announced. I hope so anyway. But it's kind of what's happened over the years. EA release, one big new feature every year. And this year it seems to be transfer negotiations. So thank you for watching this video, guys. Make sure you check out Chesnoid's video to actually see it in action. And I will see you for another video where I'm going to talk about the journey. The journey is returning in FIFA 18 and it's looking good.